My name is Valerie Young, and I get to serve as your Synod Executive and Stated Clerk for the Synod of South Atlantic. I welcome you all to the first of our three session GA Commissioner training. I'm grateful that you're here, grateful that we can hopefully be of some help to you. And let's see, I have a PowerPoint, which of course you can't see, so I'm going to share my screen again. Here's what we're doing tonight. Tonight, we are going to do some introductions. I'm going to try out a new app on Zoom to see if we can do some major shifting in breakout rooms. So we're going to do some of that. We're going to do some spiritual grounding. What is General Assembly and why do we do General Assembly the way that we do? Teresa Howell, Stated Clerk for Cherokee Presbytery, is going to talk to us about what it means, what your role is as a commissioner to the General Assembly. And then we're going to do a little bit of process and structure. That's tonight. You'll hear more about next Monday later towards the end. So, as I mentioned, I'm going to try out this app. And give me just a second here. Two things I want to do because I know I'm going to need help with this. Teresa, where are you? I'm going to make Teresa a co-host. I'm also going to make Bill, where are you? Bill Wildhack, a co-host as well. So they're going to help me mute you when you forget to mute yourself. Okay? That's their primary function. Awesome. Okay. As I mentioned, I am going to be trying out an app here. We're going to see if this is going to work. I'm going to put you in, we're going to do some breakout rooms. There are going to be 8 minutes in length. Hopefully there will be no more than 4 people per group. And we're going to do this, I think, probably 3 times. And the objective is for you to get to meet some folks, right? So you might recognize some faces and some names when you get to Milwaukee. And I'd like for you to take some, just, again, 8 minutes a session, talk fast, answer some of these questions. What's one thing you're most looking forward to? What's one thing that you are concerned about? And as it relates to the 227th General Assembly, let's be specific here, right? We have lots of things in the world to be concerned about. Let's focus. And then what is one business item you have questions about, okay? I'm going to give this a shot, and if it doesn't work, we'll punt. I'll come up with something else. Let's open. I should have done this before, but let's pretend we're just starting. Let's open with a word of prayer, okay? Let's go to God. Gracious and loving God, we are grateful for this opportunity to serve and look forward to being in community with so many other commissioners from throughout the PCUSA. Be with us tonight as we meet new people, discover new things, and learn what it means to be called as a commissioner to the 227th General Assembly. Light our way to and through this service in your church. Through the power of the Spirit and by the grace of your Son, Jesus Christ, we pray. Amen. Awesome. Thanks so much. Now I am going to share my screen again. We did introductions. So 100% transparency here. I stole these slides. The first two or three slides were taken whole from Kate Duffert, who is, I can't remember her exact title, but manager of General Assembly Meeting Services. She puts the whole General Assembly together with the help of her colleagues. So this is information about why GA, who we believe God to be, who we believe we are created to be, leads us to who we believe the world is meant to become. God is sovereign, part of the whole of human life and therefore calling us to be active in seeking God in the whole of our existence. God is embodied in Jesus, who gathered disciples together and lived out an example of church that was rooted in including the whole of the community in its work, even if not especially those in the margins. That God moves in us through the Holy Spirit, who can be discerned wherever 2 or 3 are gathered, and gives us the prophetic wisdom to live out our faith. We believe we are created and loved by God, all of us in our uniqueness and endowed with particular gifts to serve the church. None of us called more than any other, but uniquely gifted and empowered to serve in this time and place. We believe the sinfulness of our world is met with the hope and promise of redemption, guiding us into the work of discernment, confession, reformation, and ongoing pursuit of God's wholeness. And we believe that the church has a unique and important role in living out this call in the world. All of these undergird why we have a church structure that emphasizes the importance of discernment as a diverse community where people from across the church are equipped and empowered to bring the whole of themselves as they listen for how God is calling the church to live out our faith in the world. It is because of our beliefs that we have a system and ecclesiology that orders itself in councils. Therefore, we cannot separate the General Assembly and its work from the theology that guides our faith. So consider General Assembly as a call to serve. We gather as a community to discern together, knowing that God has called all of us. And therefore, we best hear God's voice for our community when our community is gathered. Embracing the diversity of creation through representation. We are called, and you are called and commissioned to serve not as representatives, but those who have been created to listen for the Spirit with their unique gifts, empowered to seek the will of God for the whole of the denomination in the ways we live out our faith, from congregations to mid-councils to national programs to global witness. There will be those who arrive at General Assembly with a particular motivation. Some people believe they are sent with a message for the whole church, but that's not your purpose as a commissioner. You will be lobbied. There are factions within the church that are already at work to sway the assembly in some not so transparent ways. While it is a worshipful body at General Assembly, there is also politics. As commissioners, it's your role to pray, listen, and discern. And in doing that, we have to realize that we don't all hold the same opinions or beliefs, and we must have respect for those with whom we differ. Make no assumptions about the people there, but instead seek to listen and learn from one another. Know that purpose of the General Assembly is not to have your message heard, but instead to gather in community to hear God's message and direction for the church. In order to do that, we need to listen faithfully to one another and be open to the movement of the Holy Spirit. So what does it mean to discern? Some of us know this, but let this be an important reminder to you that it is your job to discern. So discernment is the quiet, intuitive, or spiritual perception of truth, intent, and reality. Whereas debate can be a noisy, often ego-driven conflict aimed at winning, control, or to secure an agreement. Discernment seeks to understand and align, often leading to peace, while debate often drains energy demands conformity, and escalates tension. Now, this is different from debate on the, it's not different from debate on the floor. That's a parliamentary term, right? All of that is done in service to your discernment. So the key difference is for a goal, discernment, it seeks to understand what is true, good, or God's will. Debate often aims to prove a point or to win an argument or to control a narrative. There will be people who debate versus discern. I hope you're not one of them. So Teresa is going to talk to us now about the role of a commissioner.
I'm old, and I've volunteered at the assembly for many years. I've served as a committee parliamentarian, a committee assistant, floor parliamentarian. I've helped with the help desk, tracking, and scripting. So not only have I seen the sausage made, I've been behind the curtain where the magic happens. So the first thing you need to do is register and get your MyGA account set up. And Valerie's put together a basic schedule for us. And you'll see it says June 22nd through 24th, the online committees. And that's when the committee work begins. That means you have to have read all of your committee's business before June 22nd. In other words, you need to be ready to walk in and defend your paper, not just turn it in. You need to be ready to go on the 22nd. We need you to be, the assembly, the church, the Presbyterian Church needs you to be highly functioning for for a brief period of time, for this time at the assembly. You only have 2 days to get your committee work done, 3 days to get your committee work done. And then you're going to get to travel to Milwaukee, and you're going to be sitting in a very big hall, and it's maybe going to be cold. So you want to pack layers, and you want to pack comfortable shoes. You're going to walk a lot because it's a big hall and things are far away. And you're going to want to pack a water bottle or a coffee thermos, or maybe both, if that's what it takes to keep you going. June 2nd is Community Day in Town Square. There's lots of things you can do to help in Milwaukee and to work with other Presbyterians. I like to say that General Assemblies where a couple of thousand of your Presbyterian friends come together and do good work. Sunday, you can sign up to worship at a local church. Transportation will be provided. And then plenary begins on that afternoon. And so from June 29th to July 1st, you'll be sitting in that big plenary hall all day, every day, and you'll get breaks for lunch. And notice that the Synod is sponsoring a lunch on June 30th at the 3rd Street Market Hall. And I hope that you've all signed up for that. And you have to be finished with your work on July 2nd. They pay for the hall for a certain period of time. And once that time comes, we have to stop. We have to be done. So let's keep the business clipping along. And you're going to elect a moderator and a vice moderator or co-moderators as one of the last items of business. So be prepared for that. As Valerie said, you need to pray and discern. You are there to seek and discern the will of God. And so I encourage you to take time to pray. So how does the GA work? And a lot of you probably know all of this. Business comes before the assembly in overtures, and the overtures go to committees, and the committees debate those overtures, or they discern what's the best way to go. And then their recommendations go to plenary. And both committee and plenary include debate. There's the time for amendments. You can amend something if you think you can make it better. You have something that'll make it better. Yay. We need that. And then there's a vote in plenary. That's the final vote. Overtures come from presbyteries and synods. Their business is also comes in the form of reports to certain committees, and those reports are from advocacy and advisory committees. There are also commissioners' resolutions. Somebody can correct me, but I believe that every commissioner can sign on to, can create 2 commissioners' resolutions, up to 2 resolutions. And occasionally a committee will get a referral from a previous assembly or something else that was deferred or referred, and it'll come back to the committee for action. But the committee work is intense. That's why you need to know what's coming before your committee. I always like to say that intelligent people ask questions. There are no stupid questions. If you're confused about anything, or an issue, or what are we voting on, or what does this mean, you may not be the only one confused. So don't be embarrassed to seek recognition from the moderator and say, I'm not sure what we're voting on. I'm not sure what we're talking about. I'm not sure which item of business we're on. Although in your committee meetings, the business being discussed should be on your screen. It should be up on your screen. And everyone in the committee has voice and vote in the committee. Ruling elder commissioners, teaching elder commissioners, young adult advisory delegates, and you'll have other advisory delegates with your committee, and all of you will have voice and vote in committee. And so you need to read the business on MyGA. I would say for your committee business, your committee is first and foremost. Read your committee business first. Read the recommendations. Read the rationales. You don't always have to approve you don't approve the rationale unless the recommendation asks you to. And if it does, then you can amend the rationale. There'll be additional resources. Some of the an advocacy committee may respond to the recommendation. We think we recommend this it is approved because, we recommend this not be approved because. If it's a change to the book of order, the advisory committee on the Constitution will provide advice on that too. There will be advice and council memos. There will be comments, and most importantly, if you have an item of business that has a financial implication, study that. Take that seriously. I've been at assemblies where everything was approved, and we got down to the last night, and the per capita was going to be like $20 a head of a person, and everybody was like, "Well, we can't do that." So we the assembly went back and cut some things. So just be careful is it important enough to spend that money? Is that an important enough thing for the church that money needs to be spent? That's just a big thing to look at. And one of the other things that your committee will go over is what your options are in the committee. You can vote to recommend, and everything you're voting on is going to go to mostly is going to go to plenary. So your options are yes, recommend approval, yes, approve with comment. Your committee can add a comment if they think that's important. They can amend the recommendation, so it would be yes with amendment, or they can amend it and make a comment. They can also say no. They recommend it not be approved. You can recommend it not be approved with comment. Your committee may discern that there's an alternate way to do what is being recommended. So you could present an alternate resolution. And if your committee is concerned about the item of business, that maybe it needs more work, it needs more numbers, more financial number, you need more information before you can make a decision, you can refer it to, and it's usually referred with comment. You have to say where it's being referred to or when. We refer this to the 228th Assembly for action, for more study and action at the 228th. Or you might have, this has happened before, there are several similar recommendations before a committee, and the committee discerns what's the best option, or they create a best option. And then you can recommend that it be answered by the action on that item of business. So that sounds like a lot, but it's really not. It moves pretty quickly, and your committee leadership, your moderator, your vice moderator, your committee assistant, your parliamentarian, they'll be able to explain that and in a way that makes a lot of sense. And during GA, I think there's another slide. You got to stay engaged. Yes, your committee is busy and you have a lot of stuff to read and a lot of stuff to do, but there's a lot of business at the assembly. And so you're going to need to at least be familiar with some of it. And one of the things we do as Presbyterians is the congregation trusts the session to take action and to make decisions that's the best for the congregation. And this is essentially what the committees are doing. They're discerning and praying and debating and making decisions and making recommendations to plenary. And so it's trust. You trust that the committees have done their work, and you want them. You want to listen. As Valerie said earlier, that's also very important. You do want to listen, and you do want to take notes. If you've got a question, during plenary, there are going to be 2 help desks on either side of the hall, and there are going to be floor parliamentarians, and they can answer parliamentary questions, or they can connect you with excuse me, someone who can give you more information. Or if you think everybody's stuck, you can ask for more information, but you need to care for yourself. It's long and it's hard. I come home from presbytery meetings very tired, and I said, and this sounds terrible, but I say it's hard to be nice all day. It's kind of hard. And not that I'm ever upset at Presbytery, because Cherokee Presbytery is awesome, and they're very nice, but it's hard. And you gotta be in what's going on. You gotta know where you are. You've got to know where your Roberts is, your Book of Order is. You know what you've got, what's coming next. What are you dealing with now? What's coming next? What's after lunch? And so this is the same way. Now you'll get breaks. They don't start too early. You get an hour and a half for lunch. You get an hour and a half for dinner. But it's a really, really long day. And so you need to take very good care of yourself. Stay hydrated. If you need snacks, find your executive presbyter and make him or her go get you candy, or get something, get a protein bar, get something that you need. But you got to pace yourself. And when I was much younger, I stayed up late and got up early and didn't think anything about it, but I slept on the plane home. And so I can't do that anymore. So we just need you to do take care of yourself, and find any of the mid-council leaders in the Synod. Find Valerie. If you need something, yes, find Valerie, and any of us will help you. We'll help you with what you need, because we want this to be a very positive experience for you, because this is the church at work. This is us at our best mostly. And so we need you to stay that way. After GA, please report back to your presbytery as the stated clerk. That needs to be in the minutes, so Valerie doesn't ding us for not having a report back from the General Assembly commissioners. So please ask for time on the presbytery agenda at your meeting after the assembly, so you can report. And the implementation, it takes the assembly will take an action, and sometimes it might take a month. It might take a little while for that to get done. And if it's a change to the Book of Order, it's going to take a year. If the presbyteries all vote for it, it has to have if it's a change to the Book of Order, it's got to have a majority vote of the presbyteries. And if that change receives a majority vote, the implementation occurs a year after the assembly ends. And reflect, tell people about your experience. You are a commissioner for 2 years. You are a commissioner until the convening of the next assembly. So if for gosh, we hope it never happens, but if the assembly is ever called back to order, you would have to go, you would have to be there and go back. But take some time, maybe put something in your Presbytery newsletter about your time at the assembly. It's To me, I love it. I love to volunteer. I love to help, and I like to watch the church at work. It's the best part of the church are the ordinations and the installations of elders and teaching and ruling elders. But this is a close second. It's just it's a good time. Uh, so you're going to be tired. I'm not going to lie. You're going to get tired. And like I said, you might be confused, and that might be in committee and that might be in plenary. But go to the floor parliamentarian, seek recognition. If everybody around you is stymied, ask. And one thing I will tell you is in plenary, you're going to be seated by presbytery. You're going to be seated with your commissioners, the commissioners from your presbytery and your young adult advisory delegate. And you're going to be seated around other presbyteries that you may or may not know, and meet new people. It's kind of cool. This is like my family reunion. I have a presbytery family, and we all get together at General Assembly every other year, and it's just awesome. I just love it. And Valerie talked about some of the political things in play. There are gonna be, especially the young adult advisory delegates, they're going to be lobbied, and so just be aware. Everybody's got an opinion. They've got something they want done, and just be open and listen. Go with an open heart and an open mind, and leave time for prayer and room for the Holy Spirit, and you'll be fine. And find Valerie if you have a problem. That would be what I would say.
Yeah, I have no answers, but I can connect you to people.
Yes, that's
and can assist you. Before we move on to my next slide, which is
I have a question for Teresa.
Okay, go ahead, Robert.
Teresa, you mentioned submitting papers. What papers?
A commissioner's resolution. You can submit a commissioner's resolution. I think that's what I was talking about. That should be in my GA. It tells you how to do that.
And that's in the weeds right now.
Yes. Yeah. You got a little time on that, Robert.
Yeah.
Oh, I think it was Teresa, it was your illustration of it's time to present your paper you're talking about term paper.
Term paper, like a deadline. I said your deadline was June 22nd when the committee starts. I said you can't just turn in your term paper. You got to be ready to defend it. You got to know everything. You've got to have read all your committee stuff. Maybe a bad illustration. Sorry.
So before I go on to this the next slide, which has a video, I'd like to address, there are multiple people who have said to me, text or chat or whatever, that they don't know their committee assignment, that they don't know when GA training is, and everyone wants to know where their hotel is and when that will. The hotel, that's going to be a little ways off, I fear. There's a lot to do, setting up those room blocks and everything, so be patient with that. You should have received an email on or about April 20th that gave you a committee number. Do you remember that? And by the way, let this be an example that you really have to read those emails. All of those emails that get sent to you, you can't just blow them off and you can't just skim them. You have to read them, okay? If you know your committee number, I can 95% guarantee that the name of the committee is also in that email. The committee names are unusual. They're going to look like General Assembly Operations or General Assembly Relationships or what are the other names of the committees, Bill? Reformed Identity Around the World, or So if you don't know your committee name, your committee assignment yet, go and look for that email that came to you round or about April the 20th. Yeah, Bill.
So if you go to MyGA and you go to the business part of it, you can actually click on committees and click through them one at a time and see who you know and find yourself
Yeah.
if you haven't found it anywhere else yet.
Yeah, and we can do that in just a minute. And that's one way if you want to look through all the names of all of the committees to look for your name. That's one way to find out your committee assignment. But the simpler way would be to find that email from April 20th. The training from meeting services staff, you should have already, probably within the last week, received an email telling you how to access that training. It's there. It's on MyGA. I've seen it. I've done some of it. And we're going to hear about that here, or a little bit of it here in just a moment. Any questions so far? How many of you are going to go and look for that email? Okay. And if you can't, if you can't find that email by next Monday, or before next Monday, it would be better. We need you to find that email and know your committee assignment for our work together next Monday. But we'll get to that here in a few minutes, because that's part of your homework. Yeah, we have homework too. Okay, now I'm going to share my screen again. Oh, wait, you've been called. Sorry. I think I forgot to share my sound. Oh, there it is. There we go. You've been called to serve as a commissioner to the 227th General Assembly. This video is to provide you with the basic understandings you'll need for any General Assembly, and the GA Meeting Services staff will provide you with the rest. You should have already received an email from Meeting Services staff about technology and core training. That training will provide necessary and foundational knowledge on the General Assembly as a whole, how the Assembly will do its work, issues of equity, technology training and needs, and appropriate conduct at the General Assembly. In addition, there are videos introducing advisory and advocacy bodies, the co-moderators of the 226th and 227th General Assembly, as well as parliamentary resources. By now, you should already know your committee assignment. If not, contact GA Meeting Services. You may or may not be excited by the committee you've been assigned to, but make no mistake about it, your voice is important, and you are expected to fully participate in both your committee and all plenaries of General Assembly. Next week, we'll help you get familiar with the business. And for our third and final training, we will be joined by staff from General Assembly Meeting Services who will help you with all the meeting tools you'll be using during General Assembly. You'll need to have completed your registration for GA and completed the prerequisite training in MyGA before our May 18th meeting. Basically, the General Assembly reviews the work of synods, resolves controversies in the church, is responsible for matters of common concern for the whole church, and serves as a symbol of unity for the church. The General Assembly, the body for which you will serve, is the center of the system. It's not just a one-time event. Your service as a General Assembly commissioner lasts until the convening of the next General Assembly. The General Assembly consists of commissioners elected by presbyteries. Half of the commissioners will be ruling elders, half ministers of the Word and Sacrament. Few will ever have been commissioners to the General Assembly before, but most will have served in one of the other councils of the church, the session, presbytery, or synod. There will be several people in your committee meetings that are there to serve and assist committee leaders, answer questions, and provide additional information. Also, you'll notice advisory delegates. Advisory delegates are intended to give voice to those who may otherwise not be represented by elected commissioners. These delegates have full voice and vote in committee, but in plenary, they have voice only. It's common, however, that advisory delegates are polled before votes. There are 4 types of advisory delegates. Corresponding members are those holding or having held certain offices of the church. Former General Assembly moderators, seminary presidents, heads of agencies, synod executives, and others, including members of advisory and advocacy committees. All corresponding members are entitled to speak to items of business, but they may not vote. Since the unification of the former Office of the General Assembly and Presbyterian Mission Agency, there are now 5 agencies of the PCUSA. Presbyterian Life and Witness, formerly the Interim Unified Agency. This new agency, led by Reverend Jihan Oh, Executive Director and Stated Clerk of the General Assembly, works to support mid-councils, leader development, unifying ministry work, reparative justice, life of the communion, and strategic partnerships. You will be hearing a lot about this agency and the work that went into its creation, as well as the changes taking place at the denominational level. We literally couldn't do this without the staff. This is where your per capita and mission giving goes at the national level. The majority of business at this General Assembly will... So sorry. Not sure what happened. Impact the work of the Office of Presbyterian Life and Witness. The Presbyterian Investment and Loan Program partners with churches nationwide to create environments that support mission and ministry by providing financial project consultation, low-cost loans, and opportunities for individuals and councils to invest in the church. The Presbyterian Publishing Corporation, or PPC, is the self-funded denominational publisher, but the materials it issues cover the spectrum of modern religious thought and represent the work of scholarly and popular authors of many different religious affiliations. The Presbyterian Foundation works to develop gifts and manage funds of congregations and other ministries to develop communities of generosity among their members and constituents, providing people with an opportunity to realize their philanthropic goals through giving and investment options. The Board of Pensions offers medical, pension, retirement, and other benefits to churches, mid-councils, and affiliated organizations. While not an agency of the church, the Presbyterian Church USA A Corporation, is also known as ACOR, is the corporate entity of the General Assembly. In essence, ACOR is the business office of the General Assembly, enabling us to conduct any number of transactions with the secular world. ACOR, through the staff of the Administrative Services Group, provides services like finance, translation, risk management, and stewardship and funds development. Together, all of the agencies and organizations elected by the General Assembly and empowered by the Holy Spirit work together with councils to support congregations in their fulfilling their call to the great ends of the church. There is a whole lot more for you to know, and that information is readily available to you in MyGA. If you have any questions or difficulties in accessing the training or business of the General Assembly, contact GA Meeting Services or your Presbytery Stated Clerk for assistance. Most Presbytery leaders or stated clerks will be with you in Milwaukee, and I'll be there as well. Our role is to make sure that you have everything you need to fully participate. Do not hesitate to reach out to one of us if you need anything. You've been called. Sorry for that bump. So we've determined that you should know your committee assignment, and I think you might know now where to go to find that in more than one way. One thing I would like to do is show you, as Bill referred to earlier, show you, oops, some things about my GA and where and what it looks like right now and what we hope it'll look like very soon. Okay. Because right now, eventually, hopefully soon and very soon, right, Teresa, the business of the assembly, all the reports, all the overtures, all the things that you need to read, soon they will be moved into or assigned to a committee. Okay. Until it's assigned to a committee, you can't tell what you have to read for your committee. But that shouldn't necessarily stop you from going in and starting to read the business anyway, because one way or another, things are going to come to the floor, and they may come with some changes, they may not, but one way or the other, you're going to be exposed to this business. Okay. And yeah. So this is what my GA looks like. Yours might be a little bit different because as a corresponding member, I don't have access to some of the things you do, but I think this page is the same. So if you go to this page, how do I get that back? Let's see. Going to refresh. There we go. This is what you have when you go to the business tab on my GA. This is what shows up for me. Okay. I can click on a committee and hit search and nothing shows up for me. If I click on committee here and go to a committee, I can go, this is where I go to find the members of the committee. Okay. I can see, let's see, Christopher York. Is Christopher with us tonight? Let's see, who else from this synod?
Greater Atlanta just went
Greater
by.
Atlanta, you
Greater
rolled
Atlanta,
past.
go by. Oh, there we go. Davis Bailey is on this committee, General Assembly Operations. So that's one way, as Bill was explaining to you, how you can find that. But right now, the only way you're going to see the actual business is if you have no committee filter in here at all and you hit search.
We discovered today at a meeting of all the parliamentarians that will be supporting our committees, General Assembly Relations has one item of business assigned to it. It's the only one in the whole list right now.
Oh, wow.
We were working through it. Actually, I was meeting with Eugene, who's the vice moderator of the committee I'll be supporting, and our moderator, Charlotte Lorenz, earlier today, and we were stepping through the business, and we stumbled on one item that has a committee abbreviation instead of
Well,
COM. This is just the committee some committee reporting, and you'll see OVT for overture.
mm-hmm.
And as you go through, there's 10 screens of stuff, 96 items, but there's one item abbreviated GAR.
Right. Well, hopefully very soon they will all be, but this is, so until then, this is where you find all of the business. So the COMs are committee reports. A lot of committees, a lot of reports. So one way or another, those are going to come to you. Let's see. Wow.
There's GAR. It's on this one.
Okay. 5 pages of committee reports. One thing that's been assigned to General Assembly Relations. So you could read that. The rest of these are overtures. Again, overtures come from sessions to presbyteries or synods up to the General Assembly. So you can look at all of these. Next week, as I said, we will go over, we'll give you, hopefully, if the committees are assigned by then, we'll be able to go over by committee the highlights of the business coming to each of those. If not, we'll punt and we'll figure something out. But that's the intention. Do you have any particular questions that we can help you with tonight that are not specific to specific business?
I see Joanne Dyson.
Yeah. My question is, until we get our committee, I know what my committee is, but until we get the business assigned to it, is there a triage way? I just saw 96 items. Is there anything you would recommend as triaging what to read first till we get our committee things? I know that will be first then.
I think I'd start with the committee reports, the COM, the first 5 pages. I think that's where I would start.
And if you have the name of your committee and it's a name that makes sense, like theological education and ordination, you can sift through the overtures and see, oh, this might come to us, for example.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's only one overture I'm sure of that will be that way. Okay, hands are being raised. Sue Williams, you're on mute.
Okay, sorry about that. I had a couple questions. One was, how do we know what our committee does?
You'll know what your committee does by the business that is assigned to it.
Okay, so there's not anywhere there's a general description of what we would do.
Well, you will consider the business that is assigned to it. That's what you do.
Okay.
So you'll go through all of the reports and all of the overtures, and you'll talk about all of them.
Okay.
And I'll find it for you here in a minute. There's a list with the brief descriptions in a PCUSA News Service story.
Okay, that's what I was wanting, just to, yeah.
I had that open earlier today.
Someone else had a hand up earlier. And if you're physically waving your hand, I can't see you because I have 3 pages of participants. So you'll need to learn to raise your electronic hand. Everybody want to practice that?
Yeah.
Because you're going to need to do that. Everybody raise your hand.
Valerie, there's a question in the chat. Can I ask it and you answer it?
Yeah, sure.
If they're not able to attend one of the Synod trainings, how will the recordings be made available so they can catch up?
I'll email the links to everyone.
That's what I was going to respond, but I wasn't positive. So there you go.
Everyone will get a link. Martha, did you have a question?
I do. Is there anywhere, I'm naive, but where can we find the names of the presbyteries and where the heck they're located?
Well, the best place to do that would be on the website, the PCUSA website.
But it didn't tell me the state. I mean, I would like to know, like in Oklahoma, what presbytery, I know the ones in South Carolina, but yeah, I'm concerned. I don't know.
Do you have a PCUSA planning calendar?
No.
Okay. Then my suggestion would be to go to pcusa.org. If you really want to, if that's important to you, go to pcusa.org. And where is that map?
Well, we meet all these people and you're going, where the heck are you from? They're like Flint River. I don't have a clue where Flint River is.
Right. Okay. So hang on just a second. I'm going to
show someone thoughtfully put the link in the chat where the map
awesome.
where the map is.
Get to it.
Yeah.
Good. Okay. Good.
Right. Yeah. There you go. Okay. Pat Jones. Did you have a question, Pat? No? Okay. You're just following.
You just asked us to raise our electronic.
Yeah. If you don't have a question, you can lower your hand now.
And I just put in the chat the link to the list of the assembly committees with their brief descriptions.
Super. Y'all know what to do with the link in the chat. If you can't click on it right now, copy it and paste it into a document of some sort so you can visit it later. Okay. Sue Williams, do you still have a question or do you need to lower your hand?
Oh, sorry. I need to lower it.
Okay.
We can take care of it for you.
That's good practice. No. That's good practice.
Except in the business interface, when you get into GA, into the committee, you'll actually be using the meeting tools tab in MyGA to seek
Mhm.
recognition and using that. It won't be a Zoom Hands. You won't have Zoom chat available to you. You'll have to be using the tools that are covered in the online training in MyGA. And you'll get to practice with those on the 18th, Bella? Is that what you said?
Yes, on the 18th.
And you'll get to see that live.
So related to that, Bill, sorry, when we're at the GA itself in Milwaukee, we need our laptops, but we obviously at that point want them muted and not playing sound through correctly because we're going to be in the room.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
It's only while we're at home in the week before doing our committee work that the audio, sound, and et cetera needs to be working for that.
Yes.
Okay, I just wanted to double check that.
Linda Levins, you're muted. Did you have a question?
Yes, I do. There's several of us who have put in the chat that we've not seen an email on training. And I'm wondering what we can do to access that. I've just done a search and it's not among my GA emails.
Okay. Hang on just one second. Oh, goodness.
If you've registered for GA, in MyGA, you should see a training tab now.
And now I can't find it, Bill.
It's called
I had it the other day.
If you
preparations.
Preparations, yeah, the preparations
Yeah,
tab in
preparation.
MyGA is what
I
all
understand that.
the
You know-
registered commissioners have.
When I click on that, I'm getting nothing.
Okay,
And,
and you have
I'm
to-
showing that I'm confirmed as registered, and that's why I asked the question. Under preparations, it's not every other tab will pull up something, but preparations is blank.
Okay, but you have the preparations tab, which
Yep.
means we'll get stuff. Valerie and I don't have a preparations tab, for example, because we're not commissioners. So
I
we
did
don't-
have a preparations tab and now it's
Yeah.
gone.
They sent a link out to mid-council people that we could use a guest login and see all the training, but it's not tracked because we don't count. It's not in with the preparations tab I can see is not in my login. It's at a separate link they sent out. But for commissioners, you should see a preparations tab and you should see more stuff showing up. And I can see Nancy Fine in tropical Florida does have it. You might make a note at the bottom of MyGA, there's a little chatbot thing that pops up, or a way to write to ga.helpme@pcusa.org and say, hey, I have the tab and I don't have the material. And that might get fixed pretty quickly.
I have a feeling some of that has moved around because I was logged in the other day or whenever it was I created that video. I was logged in and I had access to the preparations tab. So, also, as I think it was Teresa that said something about this earlier, the folks in GA Meeting Services and Presbyterian Life and Witness as an agency in general, they are having to do more and more with fewer and fewer people. And so things are a little bit slower now. So patience and grace are the key words moving into Milwaukee. Any other questions we can answer for you tonight? Your homework, as I said, is to find out your GA committee, right, for next week. Get access to that preparations. If you log into MyGA and you don't see that preparations page, contact GA Meeting Services and let them know that you don't have access to that, because you must finish the required training prior to our May 18th meeting. And the reason for that is on May 18th, General Assembly Meeting Services staff will be with us to run a mock meeting. They're going to show you how to access everything behind the scenes in the meeting tools to use for committee and to use for plenary. Okay, so you need to have that background. Yeah, thanks for putting that there, Bill. I appreciate that.
And Valerie, if I may, on that last point, whether you have it done by the 18th or not, if you do not complete it, you will not be permitted to participate in the assembly committees or the plenaries. So watch for it and take care of it before the end of June, or you will not be permitted to participate. They track all of that online training, and
and we'll take that a step further. It's happened before where a commissioner didn't realize they had to be at the committee meetings on Zoom, didn't show up for the committee meetings on Zoom, and then expected to be able to walk into General Assembly as a commissioner. That won't happen. You will lose your role as a commissioner to General Assembly if you don't take part in your committee meetings. Okay, so it's a lot. It's a lot. I had someone ask me when they were first thinking about whether or not to do this, and my response was, it's a lot. Just be prepared. I mean, it's worthy work. It is definitely a calling. There have been times, and I think Teresa referenced this before, there have been times when a plenary will go to not just 10 o'clock at night, midnight, 1 o'clock. It depends on the business. A lot of it also will depend on the contract with the convention center and local transportation as well, but mostly it's going to depend on the business. So the more you are prepared, the better the assembly will go for you in the long run and for everyone.
I just saw people helping each other out in the chat about learning about some of the Zoom tricks and things. Thank you, Jeff, for responding to that. As you move forward, you'll find the GA Help Desk has people to help. By the way, I'm Bill Wildhack. I'm the State Clerk in Tampa Bay, and I'm the Theological Education Ordination Committee parliamentarian. And today I had a meeting with all the parliamentarians, happening with all the committees, and later with my moderator, vice moderator. And I've been to all 4 different models of General Assembly in the last few years, having been a commissioner in 2018 and then supported the online only assembly, the committees in-person assembly, and the committees online assembly. And there are a bunch of people around who have been through this before, and each of your committees has folks like that who are going to help you. And each of your committee assistants will be reaching out to you in the next week or 2, we think, about a first gathering with your committees. The Young Adult Advisory Delegate Coordinators and the Theological Student Advisory Delegate Coordinators will also be reaching out to those folks about online Zoom opportunities before the assembly to touch base and help you out. And there are lots of people around who can help you and answer questions. And when you're actually doing stuff, there's other, you won't have Zoom chat, you'll have other tools. And there's also, and the GA Help Desk has been very helpful on the fly, helping resolve things in the middle of meetings for some people. So you don't go it alone. There are folks who can help out. And there are a number of people around in your presbytery and other places that you'll be meeting over the next few weeks as your committees reach out to you, who are all about helping you make this work for you.
Now is not the time to not read your email. In fact, get in a habit of, if you're not checking your email at least every day, start. At least once a day, start. Okay.
I actually set up a filter. If it comes from GA Registrar or GA Meeting Services or 1 or 2 others, it gets flagged with a GA 227 tag, so I don't miss that that's a General Assembly thing.
And if anyone needs basic help with Zoom, I'm happy to help you with that. There are all kinds of other folks, and we will likely have some time to address some more of that next week. So if between now and next Monday, when you're doing your homework and trying to follow up on all the things, bring your questions, and we'll do our best to answer them. Okay?
Can I answer Diane's question about a laptop at GA? You need an electronic device on which you can access MyGA for the meeting tools tab to vote or seek recognition. That could be a laptop, it could be a tablet. I've seen people do it with a phone. I don't recommend it because there's too much to read. But it's you do need a device that can access MyGA in order to participate, seek recognition, and vote.
I will say, Rebecca Harrison said she trusts her iPad will suffice. It will suffice for voting. It will not suffice, in my opinion anyway. It will not allow you to read the business, monitor the changes, and keep up with everything and vote at the same time. You need more robust technology, in my opinion. I wouldn't even try it with just a phone.
I happen to know Rebecca's state clerk. He might have a spare laptop lying around that might be able to help her out. Although it's not an Apple, I can't help you with that, Rebecca.
Matt, that's a great suggestion to use a laptop and a tablet.
Yes.
Matt was Matt Henderson from Northeast Georgia Presbytery was a commissioner last General Assembly. And is there Joanne Sizu, you were a commissioner last time too, were you not? Anyone else on here a commissioner previously?
2018.
Joanne, that's a yes.
I have been a commissioner before, but not for the last GA, and I've been to about 12 of them as corresponding member or observer advocate.
Okay. Yep. Okay. If you have no more questions tonight, I look forward to seeing you all next Monday. We'll do some more breakouts. I'll try and get better at that app. That didn't work very well. But we'll do some more introductions. You'll get to meet some more folks. We'll talk about the business and try and answer any questions that you have. Okay?
Okay.
You all have a blessed night. Bill Wildhack, would you please offer a prayer, please?
Sure. Lord, we thank you. I thank you for these people and their willingness to serve as commissioners, not simply to reflect the will of the people, but rather to seek together and find and represent the will of Christ for our larger church, to make decisions following opportunities for discussion and discernment, which so often includes prayer, and to somehow slog through the details in their committee and a familiarity with the rest to vote well when the time comes. Thank you for this opportunity to reassure, to help, to console, and to start the process towards committees online and then Minneapolis and all that will mean. Lord, in your mercy, hear our prayers for our church, our nation, and the world. Amen.